is by all accounts extraordinary. They say one of a kind in her generation. At age 16, Misty Copeland has been dancing for only 3 years, but she has won competitions over ballerinas with years more experience. Many in the dance world say Misty is poised on the brink of stardom.
I just hope to become a famous ballerina. I'm with American Ballet Theater.
Thousands of dancers share Misty's dream. Only a handful ever achieve it. Gerald Arpino, artistic director of the Joffrey Ballet, says Misty is one of the rare few with the potential to get there.
She has a beauty and a spirituality about her, an American quality that, yes, I will be a great artist one day.
But Misty's dream of becoming a prima ballerina may never come true because of a bitter feud between her mother and her dance teachers. That feud sparked an unusual legal battle over the control of the young dancer's future and played out in national headlines and on television talk shows. It all began 3 years ago. Misty was 12 and lived here in the Sunset Motel with her brothers and sisters. 5 children crowded into a single room like this one with their mother, Sylvia de la Serna. Sylvia was divorced and working 2 jobs, struggling to keep the family going. But Misty's chance of a lifetime happened the day she met Cynthia Bradley at the Boys and Girls Club in San Pedro, California. Cynthia was there giving free dance classes to underprivileged children.
She just told me, come in and take class, and I would just go in there in my street clothes, and I started to really like it.
Cynthia is the artistic director of a local ballet company. She says she knew immediately that Misty was special.
She was just the total package that was just soaking in everything I gave her every day, and it was just getting better and better and better.
Misty began taking classes at the Bradleys' dance studio, but getting there meant spending 2 hours a day on a bus. Sylvia did not own a car and felt the long commute to the dance studio was taking a toll on Misty. After 3 months, she told Misty she would have to quit. That's when Cynthia decided to go to the Sunset Motel and talk to Sylvia.
What did you see?
4 of her children, I guess, sitting on the floor. And I saw Sylvia in bed, and she got out of bed to talk to me. Misty was crying in the corner on a pile of clothes, and all the while I'm thinking that I didn't see any dinner prepared for Misty.
Cynthia says she decided on the spot to invite Misty to live and continue training with her and her husband, also a dance teacher.
Her talent deserved an opportunity. If I left that night, she would not get that opportunity.
What was the precise arrangement that you and Sylvia reached?
That she would stay with us Monday through Friday and go home on the weekends.
I didn't want her to live away from home. I think any mother would feel the same way. But I knew that at that point in time, in order for her to progress and do what she loved, I would have to allow her to do that. And it was strictly temporary until I was able to get her back and forth.
Misty moved in with her dance teachers and was soon immersed in the world of ballet. She started homeschooling so she could spend hours each day getting first-class training. She won competitions and performed on stage, all because of the generosity of the people with whom she was now living, Cynthia and Patrick Bradley.
I liked it there.
Why?
Well, they became like family to me.
Did you consider her to be a daughter to you?
Yeah, I guess I did. Never trying to come between her and her mother.
Misty blossomed and began to attract national attention. The teen prodigy was on her way to becoming a prima ballerina. But as Sylvia de la Serna celebrated her daughter's success, she began to resent the people who made it possible.
She started not coming home on weekends. You know, every weekend there was a different excuse. And that's when I really started to get upset.
Sylvia says she felt her daughter drifting away and that the Bradleys were trying to steal Misty away from her. But Cynthia Bradley says it was Sylvia who made little effort to be involved in Misty's life.
We were forced into a position of having to be her parents. 5 days a week. And then when she was gone on the weekend, we were preparing her things, her laundry, her meals for the following week. So it was really 7 days a week.
But Sylvia was a single mother and did have 5 other children. There were a lot of other responsibilities that she had.
But there were never any phone calls like, how are things going? You know, what did the doctor say when you took her? The little things weren't happening, which gave us a greater sense that of responsibility for her.
I take care of my kids. I feed them, I clothe them. They're very good students, they're good kids. I have 2 boys in college. If I'm such a terrible mother or whatever's being said, why are they only concerned about Misty? She wasn't the only minor in my home.
The tension and resentment mounted. Finally, this past summer, Sylvia told her daughter that after 2.5 years of living with her teachers, Misty would have to move back home and could no longer train with the Bradleys.
I was shocked.
First and foremost, the family bond, I feel, should be protected.
When I found out that I was going to have to move back home, I was pretty sad because I had been living with them for a while.
And that is when Misty made a fateful decision that would ignite a public and painful confrontation between Sylvia and the Bradleys. Misty had studied in August at the San Francisco School of Ballet. Some of the dancers there had talked of emancipation, going to court to declare herself independent from her mother.
What did they tell you about it?
I could be my own person and do what I want.
Was it the Bradleys who suggested that you check out emancipation?
Partially.
Did they explain to you that that was going to give you some distance from your mom?
Mm-hmm.
Did they tell you you needed that?
They thought that my mom was not helping much with my ballet training. But one Saturday when Cindy picked me up and took me to ballet in the morning, I was introduced to an attorney. He thought that if I did this, then I could choose to dance wherever I want and still see my mom and everything. It made it sound really good, but it wasn't like that.
Was it your idea?
Absolutely not my idea.
Misty said it was partially your idea.
We had many discussions about ways we could solve this, ways to get her mother to come together with us.
Misty filed for emancipation and went into hiding for 3 days on the advice of the Bradleys.
They told me that they were going to, I guess, give my mom the papers that filing the emancipation, and that I shouldn't be around her when it happened because she would be pretty angry. And so I thought, well, I'd stay with a friend for a night.
When Misty didn't come home on time, Sylvia says she panicked.
I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't work, I couldn't do anything.
Convinced the Bradleys were behind her daughter's disappearance and were trying to take away her child, Sylvia filed court papers of her own, asking for a restraining order to keep the Bradleys away from her daughter. The battle over Misty was suddenly very public.
If my sister couldn't dance, do you think any of these people would want anything to do with my sister?
Yes,
They would not.
I'm her mother. You have a child. Do you want anyone making decisions for him?
She doesn't want anyone to hear how Misty feels about us.
Cynthia, with all due respect, you're not the mother. You're not the mother.
Everyone's speaking as if Misty's not here. They're not. Once have we heard what she wants?
I can't do anything about that.
Through it all, what Misty wants has been buried in the chorus of adult voices deciding her future. We were allowed to interview Misty only in the presence of her mother and her mother's lawyer, Gloria Allred.
I've also talked with Misty before agreeing to represent Sylvia, and I feel that I understand what Misty feels about these life choices that are so important.
Everything just became this big mess and worse than it already was. And I was just so sad that I couldn't stay with Cindy and Patrick. And after a while, my mom talked to me about it, and I realized that it wasn't the right thing to do.
Why wasn't it the right thing to do?
Because I should be with my mom.
Why?
Because she's my mom.
What are you hoping happens to you now?
I still want to see them, the Bradleys, because I know I won't be able to dance with them.
Misty dropped her quest for emancipation. She has now moved back home into a new apartment with her family. Her mother has a better job. Misty returned to high school this fall and takes ballet classes after school with a different teacher. But many in the dance world say that is not enough, and that Sylvia's refusal to allow the Bradleys to intensively train Misty may cost her daughter her dream.
She could just have a very short, if not even a career.
You think she needs to be training more than a few hours after school every day?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
If she's ever going to make it?
Oh, yes. With that talent and that gift has to be guided, really, now.
What must be done with talent like this? Why isn't it enough that Misty is dancing every day after school?
What her mother didn't see, all the things that went into putting her on stage. Everything from costuming to choreography to being rested, well fed, all of your equipment in order, emotionally in the right place. I mean, all Misty had to do was go on stage and perform. Everything was taken care of for her.
The dance community can't decide what's best for Misty. I'm her mother. I'll decide what's best for her. I'll make sure she's always into dance.
Sylvia has barred the Bradleys from having any contact with Misty. She says her daughter's new dance teachers are just as capable. The Bradleys still hope Sylvia will reconsider. They say they invested $100,000 worth of care and training into Misty, but say it is the emotional loss that matters most. And in the middle of it all, the tiny dancer with big dreams has given up hope her mother will reconcile with the Bradleys.